What fact do you know that makes people go why the do you know that? In porn a lot of cum shots are faked for multiple reasons, mainly due to pregnancy being a real thing. So they use fake lube and the man moans looking as if he nutted like a boar. Pigs cum about 60 milliliters, but reality is he's faking it too. This tends to hurt people's expectations during sex. If your goal is a bigger load, you have to exercise your PC floor muscles along with consuming B12 and zinc with protein-rich foods. Stuff like pineapple and coconut helps too, along with fluids and exercise. I can tell the difference between spider genders. For most species the female is larger than the male. Since females obviously spawn eggs and all, I'll point one out in a room and take care of it. My friends look at me like I'm the crazy spider lady. I call spiders free pest control. Never have any flies in my room, and the ones I do find are in their webs, so I see no problem with it. So female dolphins have vaginal secretions that make a male dolphin just come over and over and over. From this point on, I will call these secretions dolphin pussy jelly. Scientists were like, holy shit, dude, we gotta test this, you know, for science. So the scientists collected a sample of said dolphin pussy jelly, and had a test primate. They swabbed it on the male primate stick, sat back and watched the show. Now you see, it worked, but it worked a little too well. The monkey straight up had a heart attack because it used all of its energy into fucking coming. I want to live in a world where this is a commercial product. I want to say, you know what? I want to die and I know what to do about it. I want to live in a world where I can go into my local grocery store, pick up a bottle of Smucker's Dolphin Pussy Jelly, and just fucking cum myself to death. There's a biological reason behind a lot of people's foot fetishes. Sure, some of them probably come from strange childhood experiences. But in a lot of cases, it's physiological. The part of the brain that deals with sexual stuff and the part of the brain that responds to feet are right next to each other, and sometimes there's an overlap, meaning signals meant for the foot department can end up among sexual associations. For some people, this happens consistently. If you look at a foot and the sex part of your brain gets activated, congratulations, you have a foot fetish because of biology. I have a story about that. 3 years ago I was at the Kennedy Space Center. It's Florida, so you better believe I'm wearing sunglasses. So my group goes to buy snacks and drinks, and I can't find the menu. Commerce is happening, so clearly other people know something I don't, but damned if I can tell what it is. When the people I was with started talking about their order, I had to ask what the hell was going on. Turns out the display screens, which I thought were turned off, were polarized, and at 90 degrees to the polarization of my sunglasses, because they were mounted sideways. Being prescription sunglasses, I couldn't just take them off, cause I'd still be blind, so I had to stand there in line looking like a goober with my head tilted to the side, reading sideways text. The first orifice to develop on a human embryo is the hole that becomes the anus. This occurs before any other distinguishing characteristics emerge. Therefore, there was literally a point in time where you were nothing but an asshole. Furthermore, this orifice eventually protrudes all the way through the embryo to the other side, forming the mouth, throat opening. Therefore, the mouth comes from anus, since every word you speak comes from your mouth, and your mouth comes from your ass. We can say that everything you say is just you talking out of your ass. Credit, Aaron Ra, scientist and atheist activist. Look him up on YouTube. Lot of unethical shipping companies even today dump a lot of garbage, oily sludge, waste, contaminated water and oil out when sailing in international waters far away from the shore. There are only a few handful of players today who are actually executing business trades while still keeping the carbon footprint and environment as one of their core policies. I am glad to be working with one them. I am a merchant marine who works as an engineer on mega container ships like this. Disclaimer: Link takes you to a YouTube video of a container ship in port and eventually we sailing off under the Golden Gate Bridge. When you murder someone you should cut their hair and fingers and burn them, as it would be harder to identify when it has been found, and you should bury the body vertically because most of the time people searching for the bodies expect them to be horizontal and the burial area would not look suspicious at all. Lastly, you should fill the body with yogurt so that it decays faster. I grew up about 5 miles from the farm where that happened. What a lot of people don't know is that farm actually housed all kinds of animals and people would have actual emotional and sexual relationships with them. The emotional relationships continued after Washington cracked down on bestiality. On that topic, I was on a dairy farm out there. One of the farm hands got up early to get the calves fed and found the neighbor boy balls deep in a calf's mouth. That lived in that man's head for years to come. Lol. I routinely go on rants in public about how gross ice machines are on the inside. The further south you go in the US, the nastier the ice machine is inside. The water being turned into ice. The tray it comes from is usually filled with gross ass water, bugs in it sometimes. Then if the water's hard there's cakey slime all inside the machine. Stay away from restaurant ice machines. I shouldn't have implied that nobody does it anymore. I just meant that it's a pastime with a long history, and that it's not as big a part of the public consciousness as it used to be. I watched Trainspotting in college with a bunch of people, and after it was over someone asked why is it called Trainspotting? The person who rented the movie said who the hell knows? And then I explained the pastime and the implied metaphor. Everyone in the room stared at me like I was from another planet, and before someone asked how the hell I knew that. In the 1700s they used to rent out pineapples for hundreds of dollars. People would parade their pineapple around the streets flexing on the peasants that couldn't afford to rent a pineapple. Edit. Seeing as this has a couple if updates, here's an article where you can learn about the bizarre history of pineapples as a high fashion status symbol. https://www.mentalfloss.com/article/65506/super looks history pineapples and why they used cost 8,000. Artificial banana flavor, isoamyl acetate, was not formulated to match anything. People noticed it smelled like bananas after they had already made it. It is true that Big Marks have more banana ester than Cavendish bananas, but it's not a different chemical. Just more of that same chemical. If any of this is wrong, please let me know. I, too, once thought that artificial banana was formulated to taste like Gros Michel. A chemist set me straight. When I explained that artificial banana flavoring tastes off because it was formulated to taste like the Gros Michel banana. Bananas as we know them have been bred to a point of genetic similarity that means they may as well be clones. This ensures a consistent product, but it also opens banana populations up to illness. The weakness of one banana becomes the weakness of them all. So when a fungal illness struck, the Gros Michel was wiped out. Were it not for the Cavendish banana, we would be banana-less, and we still eat the less sweet Cavendish banana to this day. However, all is not well in Banana Kingdom. Seemingly having learned nothing, we still make bananas too genetically similar to one another, tempting the same fate suffered by the Gros Michel. Edit. There was more to this than I knew. Please read the rest of the comments people have added. It really expanded my awareness and I learned more. In the state of Pennsylvania, there are the towns of Intercourse, Climax, Paradise, and Blue Ball. No joke. These are the actual names of those towns, and they are all with a range of each other. But what makes it even more epic is that the locals use this humor for their tourism advertising. To get to Paradise, you have to start at Intercourse and drive through Climax. But if you hit Blue Ball you have gone too far. I only remember this because my dad bought a t-shirt that had this written on the back. Your eyes can't track horizontally smoothly, unless you are tracking a moving object, then it looks smooth. They move to different points and your brain adds a motion blur to reduce the effect. You can see this by trying to smoothly look from side to side on a wall. You should see little skips. You can see this in other people easier. Also, your eyes roll in your head and stay upright/stay level to a certain point when you tilt your head. You can actually go look in a mirror and sorta see the effect. Rats are bisexual by nature, and females will have group orgies with each other when in heat. Edit. Thanks for the reward. Also, a fucking course, rat orgies would be my biggest hit. I will now bring you more interesting rat facts. Forgive the mobile formatting. We'll fix later. Males' balls can take up 10% of their entire mass. There was a study where they put females in lingerie and accustomed the males to it to the point they only saw the lingerie-wearing rats as suitable mates. Rats can give in to peer pressure and eat things they don't like if everyone else is eating it. Rats cannot burp or vomit. With the amount of people killing pest rats by poison, they are creating bigger, smarter, poison-resistant mutant rats. Koalas are the most alien of all mammals on the planet. They have 2 thumbs on each hand, 3 vaginas, spend most of their lives asleep, and evolved to only eat one plant that has no nutritional value. They also eat their mother's poop. Edit. A commenter told me that they do not get high off of eucalyptus, and it turned out to be true, but this still means the animal is dumb enough to eat it. Technically it's asphyxiation, and any inert gas is just as painless, for example nitrogen, helium, argon etc., as the human body doesn't detect a lack of oxygen, rather a high carbon dioxide level. So if you carry on breathing out CO2 while not inhaling oxygen, as you would if inhaling inert gas, you just feel tired then black out. If you are not moved to fresh air quickly, you'll die. No pain, just sudden drowsiness and nothingness. Source: many lab heath and safety courses, specifically ones about using liquid nitrogen. Don't use household candles for wax play. Ordinary paraffin wax melts at 70 degrees Celsius, which is hot enough to cause serious burns. If you really want to try it out, you need to buy specialty low-temperature candles that only melt at 45 degrees Celsius. There's other things too, about how to properly prepare someone's skin to protect the downy hair all over the body, or how to vary the intensity and interval of the heat, but most people stop me before I even get that far. Who do you contact to record this exceptional poop? There were a couple of times when I thought I needed to make an official record and didn't know who to call. 911 was not pleased. How do you poopinate poop without breaking it? Did he crab walk down the hallway? How do we know that this record holder didn't poop 4 poops? Can our body even hold an 8 poop? Is this extraordinary poop preserved somewhere? Is it in the Smithsonian, or did they build a theme park around it? So many questions. The world's first commercially produced oil well was drilled in Titusville, Pennsylvania. Call. Drake struck oil at 69.5 feet, and this ushered in the oil boom of the late 1860s. He died penniless because he never patented his method of drilling. Edit. There is an oil well just south of the Drake well called McClintock No. 1. It's the world's oldest continuously producing oil well. It produces about a barrel a year, but I was told it mostly pumps up brine water. The earliest known reference to a vending machine is in the work of Hero of Alexandria, an engineer and mathematician in 1st century Roman Egypt. His machine accepted a coin and then dispensed holy water. When the coin was deposited, it fell upon a pan attached to a lever. The lever opened a valve which let some water flow out. The pan continued to tilt with the weight of the coin until it fell off, at which point a counterweight snapped the lever up and turned off the valve. Neat. The quickest way to the heart actually is through the stomach. According to archaeological evidence, the Aztecs basically discovered through their years of sacrificing people that it's way quicker to cut open the stomach and then go up and under the rib cage to cut the heart out, rather than trying to break open the ribs to get through them. They could apparently get someone's heart out this way in only a few seconds, and there are accounts of sacrifices where multiple thousands of people had their hearts cut out in a single day. which would take forever if they didn't know the quickest method. If you sneeze when coming from a dark room into sunlight, it is because of a specific gene which is named AQ. I know because I have it. Autosomal dominant compelling heliophthalmic outburst, AQ, syndrome is characterized by uncontrollable sneezing in response to the sudden exposure to bright light, typically intense sunlight. The first Pong machine was dropped off at a local tavern owned by friends of one of the developers for a test run. After a few days, the game started to malfunction. The tavern owner called one of the devs, Alan Alcorn, to come fix it, and when Alcorn got there it was discovered that it was malfunctioning because it was too full of quarters. There's a bunch of these cocaine stories from 70s bands. Black Sabbath spent $75,000 on cocaine during 1972 while recording Volume 4. The Grateful Dead visited Aerosmith while they were recording, and Jerry Garcia said he's never seen someone do so many drugs in his life. Probably talking about Steven Tyler or Joe Perry. Apparently in 1975 the Rolling Stones had access to pharmaceutical-grade cocaine from Merck, and it's claimed that they had it hidden around on stage so they could just do a line when needed. There's a ton of stories about Keith Richards and his shenanigans. Bowie was known to take ungodly amounts of cocaine. You can see in some pictures from that time how thin and gaunt he looks. He even had Mick Jagger worried. This is true. The dolphin was named Peter and his human carrier was named Margaret. Margaret was part of an experiment where she was trying to train dolphins to speak and understand English, and she was paired with Peter, who was the youngest and the only boy of the 3 dolphins. It is true that she, the human, would do things to Peter to give him sexual release, but it was not for her own gratification. She only did it because during the training, Peter was separated from the other 2 girl dolphins, and had no way to get sexual release. Because of that, he would get unruly and be very hard to train, and to take Peter all the way back to the girl dolphins would take a lot of time and supplies, so Margaret would just give him a dolphin handy. Peter ended up committing suicide after the 2 of them were separated due to lack of funding for the experiment. He was taken to a holding facility and swam to the bottom of his tank, never coming up for air, and he passed. Many believed he was in love with Margaret. Dolphins can fall deeply in love and develop relationships just like humans can. It has been recorded multiple times that when a human and dolphin, who have formed a strong relationship between them over a long period of time, are separated, the dolphin becomes so depressed that they willfully commit suicide by sinking to the bottom of their pool, lagoon, and refuse to come up for air until they drown to death. A co-worker told me one day you'll know when it's truly the first day of spring because lake water will warm up and make any dead bodies in the lake float to the top surface due to bacteria. He continued with, except for in Lake Superior where the water temperature never gets warm enough to build bacteria in a dead body, and that's one co-worker I'll never make mad right there. When Napoleon Bonaparte died in exile, they cut off his penis and gave it to the local parish priest. The priest later sold it to raise money for his parish, and it's been sold and resold down through the centuries, and to this day there are 3 people who claim to own Napoleon's penis. No one knows why this happened, and it's not the important part of the story. The important part is, who the hell do those other 2 penises belong to? It's legal in a lot of countries, I think. The idea is that punishing someone in a survival situation is a really shitty thing to do, as they have suffered enough and coming out alive is more important. So because of this, a lot of places are hesitant on making it illegal, but they charge people with desecrating a corpse if, say, they dug someone up and ate them. It's a weird little loophole that protects people who have endured some of the worst situations imaginable. Probably not the best thing to admit in a publicly available setting, but I've always wondered how one would practice snapping someone's neck. You always see it in films etc., but I just assumed that, like with gun and knife target practice, martial arts training, and all the other necessary skills required for a spy/soldier/mercenary, They would have to do some preparation for it before being unleashed on a real person, unless it's just a case of "Go on, Agent X, now's your chance," followed by an "ow, that hurt," then scuffling noises, then a loud cracking sound, then "well done son, took me 4 goes for my first time." I think I may be overthinking this. In order to snap someone's neck like in movies or video games, you need to be strong enough to apply roughly 100 to 115% of the victim's body weight and rotational force. Much more difficult than Hollywood would make you believe.